Hello everyone, we've had a bombshell of a development when it comes to the asylum charities and NGOs in Britain, in particular the contracts and their value. And for years, the Home Office has refused FOI requests from Restore Britain, and even beforehand, before I joined Restore, asking who is contracted to deliver things like asylum services, how much they're paid, and what role charities play in shaping asylum accommodation policy. So those refusals were often justified on the grounds of commercial sensitivity or operational risk. But on the 19th of January 2026, a written parliamentary question from Rupert Lowe has actually cut through. A Labour MP was essentially asked by Rupert Lowe to disclose from the Home Office every company contracted to provide asylum-related services. And the Home Office actually answered. So I thought in this video we would go through it. It is eye-watering. I must warn the amount of value that are on these contracts, but I think it is to be expected. So let's go through it. So this question by Rupert Lowe was tabled on the 8th of January 2026. And it says to ask the Secretary of State for Home Department if she will publish a list of all companies that are contracted by the department to provide asylum-related services. And the answer was from Alex Norris of Nottingham North and Kimberley for Labour. And on the 19th of January, it says the Home Office holds one contract with Migrant Help for the provision of asylum services. The overall value for the 10-year contract, 2019 to 2029, is £235 million. 235 million. The information on this contract is publicly available. Now, this matters because under FOI, or the FOI Act, at the same department previously that the aggregate spending figures and contract classifications could not be disclosed. And I also received a response before joining Restore Britain, and then we migrated everything over to Restore, where we managed to get a list of charities and NGOs between the dates 2020 to 2024 that showed consultations between the Home Office, and a list of them that you can see here on the screen now. And after publishing this and naming the directors of each company, which is all in the public domain, the Guardian put out a sensationalist piece claiming people were going into hiding and stakeholders were being removed from their website. Even though it's all in the public domain, all I did was just put a video together to explain it and just to show it. But if you point it out and recite the information, what happens? Oh, you're labelled as a far-right influencer, which is hilarious. Personally, I thought that was quite amusing. But they're lucky they didn't actually say my name in the article. Very lucky, just to put it that way. But now, Parliament has placed more information into the public domain off the back of Rupert Lowe's question. So what I'm about to show you is not speculation, not leaks. It's taken directly from the official parliamentary answers and government contract records. So let's go through them. Like I said at the start of the video, the Home Office has confirmed that the largest single charity contract for asylum services is the Migrant Help AIRE contract worth £235 million over 10 years. In addition, the department holds a series of major contracts with private companies and charities for asylum accommodation, travel, security, payment systems, interpretation, and interviews. Now, these contracts form a long-running national framework, some of which run into the billions of pounds over their full lifetime. And the exact totals now depend on how individual regional lots and framework ceilings are now calculated. It's actually very, very difficult to get a full calculation. And let's just go through some of the companies here. You obviously have Serco Limited. That's a very famous one. Mears Limited. Clear Springs Ready Homes. That's another. Corporate Travel Management. Some of these you may already know already. That one, Corporate Travel Management, is all about bridging accommodation and travel. Obviously, Clear Springs Ready was to do with accommodation services, and we all know Serco and Mears. Prepaid Financial Services Limited. That's about support payment cards. So that's another one that's come up. MITI Limited. I think I've said that correctly. That's for things like security services at the accommodation, or accommodations, should I say, because there's so many of them. The British Refugee Council, that does things like unaccompanied asylum seeking support. That's for things like children, and they play obviously a small role in this, let's be honest. The Big Word Group Limited, that do language and interpretation services, and VF Services UK Limited, and that's for asylum interviews. So every one of these contracts is listed by the Home Office as publicly available now. There is no allegation at all. This is all just confirmation. And at this point, some people are going to say, but some of these contracts that you're going through here, Lewis, is listed by the Home Office as were published years ago on Contract Finder back in, like, let's say 2019 or 2021. Isn't this old news? Is what I think some of you might ask. And it's a fair question, but it misses something incredibly important. Yes, many of these contracts are technically have existed on procurement databases, but they were published in isolation. You know, one contract here, one framework there, you know, just scattered across thousands of unrelated titles and entries, with just no explanation of how they're all fitting together. But what did not exist until now, and we can say this, was a single official confirmation from the Home Office. So we can officially say that now. And especially via Parliament, which adds indisputable weight. You can see some of these contracts as well when you go through them. For example, this advice issue reporting and eligibility. Like, unless you actually know what you're trying to look for, just absolutely insane. Who's going to find this and know exactly what this is for? It was awarded to a supplier, this one. Was that 235 million? Just insane. And that was a start date of the 1st of March 2019, and now the 31st of August 2029. 235 million. It's genuinely insane. So that picture wasn't visible until now, until they specifically said it. Separately from the contracts, to tie this in together with previous research, the Home Office confirmed, like I said earlier, the number of NGOs and charities that were formerly involved in asylum accommodation policy development between 2020 and 2024. And this took place through what is called the National Asylum Stakeholder Forum and Strategic Engagement Groups. And these forums, co-chaired by the Home Office or Home Office officials and non-governmental representatives, meeting on a regular basis to talk about asylum accommodation policy and where people are being put. Essentially is what that is. And you can see the list of the NGOs: British Red Cross, Refugee Council, Migrant Help, UNHCR, Refugee Action, the NACCOM, Micro Rainbow, Asylum Matters, Scottish Refugee Council, ASAP, Freedom from Torture, Rainbow Migration, Helen Bamber Foundation, ILPA. Some of them are law firms as well. Found out that they were law firms, some of them. We need to essentially know now who's involved. But it's important to be clear, being involved in policy consultation is not wrongdoing, and holding government contracts isn't wrongdoing. What matters, I have to say that, particularly where organisations advise on policy and also deliver services, what hasn't been disclosed are things like meeting agendas, notes, memos, minutes, any action logs, also records on showing advice on how this translated into decisions. So we haven't gotten that yet. But of course, naturally, us over at Restore have already started pinging off FOIs to try and uncover that, and more questions to try and see if we can get some disclosure. So like I said, everything in this video is grounded in official documentation. This is all in the public domain. You can all go and see this now. So please stay tuned for more. I'm sure we're going to get more updates very, very soon. This is incredibly important, if not the most important, in uncovering the bigger picture on asylum accommodation across Britain. If you haven't become a member of Restore Britain, I'd urge you to go and do that as soon as possible. And keep yourself updated with our channels, social media, and the lot. Thank you very much.